Yeah, I know a lot of people who just started or they became good oil painters really quickly just because they knew how to draw.
Yeah.
Getting into it.
Thank you. And I think, what the fuck? I lost my train of thought
because you had to pat yourself on the back.
Because I saw a joke. I was like, joke!
All right. Welcome, everybody, to Waiting to Dry, the Golden State Warriors of art podcasting. Hopefully, we're better next year. I am Sergio Lopez. I am the Draymond Green of this team. I do a little bit of everything. Hit a three every now and again, but don't expect me to carry the show.
And I'm Josh Lawyer, Michael Jordan. This reference makes sense. I know names. I'm a Warrior, I'm assuming.
Yeah. You're one of those guys on that team. I couldn't figure out which one yet.
And I'm number 15. Just like throw out a number because I don't know anyone's name. I know Steph Curry. That's the only one.
Yeah. Well, let's get the show on the road. Hell yeah.
Holy shit, they got loud.
I meant to hit the volume down on that.
Someone's got a new tablet.
Yes.
Yeah, I honestly don't know any other. I don't know who Draymond Green is. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Fuck yeah. No. Oh, I mean, I know who he is. Number 27.
That's probably close enough. I think he's a 20-something. I don't even remember.
I know there's another guy that has like a big nose, light-skinned dude.
Oh, yeah, that's probably Klay Thompson.
I don't know. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
He's number 43.
That's right.
Obviously.
That's correct.
Is it?
No.
Okay. But I think that's it. I know that guy and Steph Curry. I'm assuming they're still on the team.
Yeah. But they are both out for the season.
Oh, wah, wah, wah. Yeah, we're hitting holiday season.
Mm-hmm.
Sleigh bells are jingling.
Don't have that one on the board yet.
Do you have the turkey song?
Turkey song.
It's like turkey, 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 turkey.
After this podcast, I'll cut that out, and that will be the new turkey song.
That's all right. I just made that up anyway. So. I'm one of those people that get offended by Christmas shit before Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's me.
I saw Christmas shit right after Halloween. That was ridiculous.
I saw before Halloween, like right before Halloween in Safeway and Target. Safeway.
Oh, I saw it at Target. Yeah.
They had it like 2 or 3 days before. I was like, you motherfuckers. It's Halloween. But yeah, This is the worst time to try to schedule artists to do a podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the shittiest time of the year, as the song says. Yeah.
So we're back at it again.
Yeah.
Just us two.
Yeah. It might be like that for a while. I'm trying. We might get, or I don't know if I should say, because then when they fail, yeah,
I'll censor it out.
But there are some potential big guests coming up, which is awesome.
Nice. I know Ozzy and was talking about wanting to do a holiday shit talking show with Monty.
Talking shit about the holidays, or just talking shit in general?
Just talking shit in general.
Fuck it. I'm down, man. The holidays are horrible to set up, but hopefully we can.
We had the same problem last year, didn't we?
Yeah, it's just a pain. And then everyone's kind of going different places.
Right.
Everyone's doing shit, so it's like makes a shitty job real shit.
Was everyone like, oh yeah, hit me up after things?
Yeah, I've got some of that.
Yeah.
Let's aim for 2020 stuff. Like, yep. Perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Everyone, I've already blabbed on about how much I hate the scheduling part of this job. So yeah, holidays. Get ready for a couple of these. Yeah. You know, people name their podcast listeners.
Oh, right.
We never did that shit.
We never could figure out one out for them.
Some PCs.
Yeah, some PCs. I think that was the closest thing we got to it.
I say that's it. So get ready for these, you PCs.
If you're new to the show, you'll have to go dig in the archives to figure out why that's funny.
Yeah, probably not that far either.
Maybe not.
I feel like it comes up.
Maybe it does.
Pretty regular. Let's just say one word rhymes with pretentious, and one word rhymes with bunt. But yeah. Yep. How you been?
I've been good. Been busy with, I don't know, probably not a lot of art things. Just more being in a new relationship and all the fun that entails. So,
Nice. Yeah. I don't know. I always get offended by the idea of honeymoon phase, but then I don't know. Did you
think there's truth to it though?
I was listening to The Fighter and the Kid, and they had Aubrey Marcus on. He's like becoming celibate, and he's like,
oh, all right.
He's in a relation. What is it called when they're like an open relationship? There's some fucking.
Sure, I think that's like polyamorous.
Polyamorous, that's what he is. And so he was talking about how like his long-term relationship girl will like hook up with a guy, and she'll be like obsessed with him, almost, and vice versa. So he'll get with a girl and she'll be obsessed with him, or he'll be obsessed with her. Although he like deeply loves his girl, he has no like, it's like this weird chemical thing where he's like, everything they say is funny, you know, like I'm waiting for them to text back, like those kind of things that are like, and he's like, it's weird because I'm in this relationship with this person I love, but there's this biological thing that's happening that's like forcing me to be obsessed with this new thing. He calls it something.
Huh. Interesting.
He's like, oh, it's this blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, I never heard that term. But I don't know. When I heard that, I was like, that's super interesting to think about. Because it does happen. You see like friends and they'll get in a relationship and you're like, I'll see you in a month or 2 or 4, you know?
Right.
Or friends that like, they're, because I've had friends that they're like that in general. Like, if they're in a relationship, they like, there's no one else in the world. They kind of just fall off the map.
Okay.
And then they break up, and then all of a sudden they're like, let's hang out. Let's hang out. Where you been? Where have I been? I've been in the same fucking place.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like, oh, let's hang. I missed hanging out with the boys. And you're like, we have always been here. Nothing has changed with us.
Yeah.
Like, you're the one that disappears. But that's good. Congratulations, man.
Well, thanks. I guess for me, it's been different in that regard because we met as friends first and still on the same social circles and kind of just hang out. Otherwise, the only difference is that we're like hugging on each other all the time and stuff like that.
Right.
So, just other than that. And then plus, I'm not the most sociable guy in general. So,
who's you?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh. Yeah.
Earth to Josh.
Did it start off with like you guys hating each other and then all of a sudden right before, like 20 minutes before credits roll, you realize I don't hate her, I like her, and then you like run to the airport.
Right, exactly.
Those things.
Exactly. Yeah, it's one of those real situations where you just hear that in your brain and you just gotta.
In a way, I wanted you to play the Brokeback Mountain, like, I don't know how to quit you. But yeah, that's cool. So you guys have been You guys like went out on like a little road trip or something recently, huh?
Yeah, this past weekend we drove down to San Luis Obispo. That was fun.
Nice.
We went to go see a gallery show that I was in. That was part of the reason we went down there, but also it's just
what gallery?
This one down in Paso Robles. It's basically like the studio space that has a gallery in the lobby there, and they have a lot of good like plein air painters who show there. So it's a pretty legit gallery for what it looks like on the outside.
That's cool.
So yeah, that was fun.
Do things sell good there?
I've done probably better than the average person does there.
Fucking losers.
Yeah. Not to brag or anything.
Is that based off of like price point or just you think quality or?
Quality plus, I've been showing there over the years for a while. So I think probably have like a little bit of a clientele slowly growing there.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, that was fun. Got to see all the sites. Took her to places that I was familiar with because I love that area, San Luis Obispo. So.
Yeah, like you were like, this is the Chili's.
Yeah. Shout out Taco Temple.
This is Applebee's.
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming there's nothing scenic in that area. They're not known for that. You know what I mean? It's like
what, Chili's or Applebee's?
No, I was saying like San Luis Obispo is kind of known as like the Modesto of the beach towns, is what most people say.
Well, I hope it stays that way, so it doesn't ever get crowded. So I can enjoy it in peace.
I've never been.
Oh.
I have no concept of what's there.
Oh, really?
I actually
okay.
know it's supposed to be really nice. That's the only thing I do know.
Yeah.
I'm just giving it shit.
Yeah. Keep giving it shit, so nobody moves there.
No one's moving. Isn't it like super like...
It's pretty remote. It's like 4 hours each way from San Francisco or LA.
Yeah,
so.
It's one of those like... When you look at it on the map, you're like, okay, so it's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, kind of,
you
yeah.
Probably should have some money if you're moving there or something like that.
Or if you're sending your kids to school there, that's basically what most people do.
Right.
Go to Cal Poly.
Yeah. I don't know. I never liked that group of people. Everyone I've met that has gone to school in that area, I'm always not the biggest fan of.
Why is that?
I don't fucking know. It's like the same reason why I don't like people that go to Chico.
Oh, okay.
It's like a weird... Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying they're the same. There's just like the people I've met that go to those specific schools, maybe I just haven't met the right people, but they always...
Just ran into a lot of PCs, huh?
I don't think they're pretentious. It's more like... it's like the woo girl people.
Oh, okay,
you know
sure.
I mean? Or like people that are super proud of their college. That kind of annoys me too. I'm like, relax.
Right.
You're done. We're done with that school.
There's a lot of...
Like, let's start a brunch.
Yeah. I don't know. The whole rep your college thing is always a little bit weird to me. But I never went to college, so
Right.
maybe it'd make more sense.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Repping, I don't know. That's just my ideas of like, I would never rep anything I went to.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
Like, maybe college is something magical, but I've gone to colleges. My friends have gone to colleges, and I've gone and visited them. It didn't seem like something worth repping.
Yeah. You don't think you would join a frat or anything like that?
Fuck no.
Yeah. I think those are the type of people we're talking about. Like,
Maybe.
Yeah, people whose identity is like where they went to school.
Yeah, they're like the next level up to like the kid who's like, high school was my glory days. Then like, there's like the next level up of that, which is college was the best time of my life. And you're like, cool, man. Maybe do something with your shit. Then.
Yeah.
It seems like you're failing as an adult then. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
I 100% agree with that sentiment.
So, if you're listening and you're in college, remember, don't make this the best time of your life.
Yeah.
After you graduate, don't fucking be a lame ass.
Right.
But But I don't know. I never had that potential trap, so maybe I shouldn't be the one saying that.
Still, looking from the outside in, you can call them losers.
Yeah,
you need to.
Yeah, nerd.
Oh, yeah. Where is that?
Did you have to upload all those on, or is it like some?
Yes, it took forever.
That sounds like it sucks. You couldn't just airdrop the thing, airdrop it all. Oh wait, this is not.
No,
this is not an Apple.
Yeah. It's an Amazon Fire tablet. It's not quite advanced to be able. Well, I would still have to load it up into the actual program itself, and yeah, unless there's a better program for that, there's no getting around it.
For sure. So other than the holidays coming up, which sucks, we had a fucking fire again.
I know, God.
Which it didn't really like super. Well, the thing was they evacuated like a shitload of people, which sucked ass. I didn't get evacuated. But it puts you in like a weird mood. We talked about
it. Really does, yeah.
Before, yeah. It's like you just don't want to do shit.
I know.
I don't know. It's like you feel like the fucking Tin Man before Dorothy plugs him with some oil.
Right.
It's like I just stuck here, fucking waiting for life to continue or some shit. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually part of the evacuation zone. So even though they had us, we were like in mandatory evacuation area, they never turned the power off or anything. So we technically didn't ever have to really leave. There are still plenty of people who were still in the neighborhood I was in, but I think they were just trying to be overly cautious after last time where they weren't cautious enough.
Right, for sure. I mean, I get it.
But yeah, it is a weird thing. It does stress you out way more than you feel like you are in the moment. Yeah. It's just afterwards you're like, holy shit, I'm so tired right now. Why am I so tired? It's like, oh, okay, it's because I've been stressed out for the past 4 days in a row.
Yeah, you really just fucking stress out and sleep all day long. And stress eat and fucking stress drunk.
Yeah. Stress drink. Yeah, there's plenty of that.
It's like this weird fucking, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, so, I'm just trying to justify us, missing a week. But, I don't know. I've been in a weird mood since the fires in general. Like, I'm like,
oh, really?
I think I'm barely, like, maybe like this last week has been like the first week where I went to work and I was like, it was kind of like, because my job's in that like intense like potential area as well.
Oh, right.
So we had a week off of work. And usually when I have like, because we had 2 days off before that because of the power outage. And I was super productive. But then when the fires hit that week, I was wanting to be productive, but I just couldn't.
Oh, yeah. It's impossible. No.
You feel like you're in quicksand or some shit. And I went out to my studio one day, but it was just too smoky because it's in the garage. It's just I went in there and I was in there for like an hour and I was like, I got a headache. I'm going back in.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's true. You don't even realize how much the smoke affects you until you're actually in it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, this last week this has been like the first week where I'm reaching out to artists of like, oh, you want to hop on? But since the fire, which I don't know when the fuck it happened, right before Halloween, right?
Yeah.
Like it was like Halloween, like 2 days before Halloween, everyone was able to kind of go back to their place for the most part.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, so Halloween till now, so I've just been kind of out of it.
Yeah, it feels a lot longer ago than it was, but it really was just like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. But yeah. So, I don't fucking know. I've been I don't know. Have you been listening to Joe Rogan at all recently?
The last one I listened to was with him and the RZA and Donnell Rawlings.
How good
that was great. That was awesome.
Holy fuck, that was so good. Yeah, I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know. First of all, Darnell Rawlings.
Or like you said, Ronell Dawlings.
Yeah. He's fucking hilarious.
He's so funny.
I've seen him on podcasts before.
Yeah.
He's been pretty funny, and I've actually enjoyed like how he thinks and talks. Sometimes he's he's a bit wonky brained from like the old school kind of way of doing things, which I don't know. I don't give too much shits about. Like, but I'm always like, I disagree with that, but whatever.
Right.
But him with the RZA, holy shit, that was perfect.
After like, because I think they'd done a podcast before where they were drinking like the whole time, so he was already pretty off the rails by that point.
Right. Yeah. But there is something too about like Joey Diaz. He's kind of in that same boat where these guys are just like authentically them, no matter what predicament they're in.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's like sometimes guys they'll act a certain way when they're in the in a comfortable zone, but then they're in an area like Joe Rogan where he's like this mega podcaster guy, and they kind of like they water themselves down to kind of fit his platform or whatever.
Oh.
Like Legion the Skanks guys are a very good example of that.
Oh, yeah.
But him and like Joey Diaz, you can tell that they're just always them.
Right.
And that might be fucking exhausting if you're around them sometimes. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I could see that.
But to see them interact with people like the RZA and Joe Rogan, and someone just be authentically them, it's just so fucking funny and nice. But yeah.
If there was a drinking game for every time he said son, you'd be dead.
Speak for yourself.
Okay. Forgot your tolerance level.
I went to a Halloween party right before Halloween.
Oh, did you?
I drank an entire fifth of whiskey.
Holy shit. Yeah.
I haven't done that in a while, but I was like, you know what? I've been drinking beer a lot. I'm going to take a break from beer and drink some whiskey. I'll bring this fifth to the party. There was like plenty of booze there, and I was like, so I was drinking it, and no one else was, and I was like, did anyone want this?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, we're good. And by the end of the night, I was like, oh, it's all gone, and I drank it all.
Yeah. How did you feel after it?
Felt fine.
Oh, did you?
I caught a lift home and called it a day. But yeah, it was good. I was pretty.
What kind of whiskey was it?
Bullet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, nothing too fancy, nothing too shitty.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I'd be worried if it was like, I don't know, what's the one, Jim Beam or something.
Yeah, that shit tastes like sugar to me. All those like, even Jack Daniels is pretty goddamn sweet. And I don't know why, because I'm assuming it's not like vodka. You drink vodka, it just tastes like vodka.
Right.
It's all about like how it, like the aftertaste more than anything, like how bitter it finishes or something like that, you know? Like how ugly your face turns after you take the third shot.
Exactly, yeah.
Like that's what you're spending money on.
Right. That's a good point.
But whiskey and is one of those that I feel like it could be like a huge fucking change in the flavor, and you're like, how the fuck is this the same? I mean, I guess it makes sense, whatever.
Because what's it made with? Is it corn or wheat? I forget.
I think it's wheat.
Okay.
But I might be wrong. So wait, brandy's wine, right? Or apples?
I don't know, actually. Brandy.
Yeah. I think it's wine. I think it's like, it's made like, it's like super wine. It's like a distilled wine.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know that.
And then beer, and then whiskey and scotch are wheat. Yeah. Wheat. Right? Maybe they're both. I don't fucking know. I'm pretty, because you have rye whiskey, which is a wheat, right? Like
yes.
Barley, isn't barley whiskey or something like that? Or I don't fucking know, man.
I don't know.
This was another Waiting to Dry Science Corner.
Hell yeah. And then you put the booze in the mouth.
Your beakers and all that.
What the fuck were we talking about before we got the booze?
Oh, about podcasts.
Yeah. I enjoyed I even enjoyed Malcolm Gladwell on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Oh yeah, that one was cool too.
I was like, oh, that's fucking, I actually really enjoyed it. And did you hear the take he had on crime movies and TV shows and how
like the Easterns and yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was super cool. I was like, oh, that's like a very, I don't know, You know, like how I have the thing I've mentioned this a million times about like the getting lost and finding home kind of narratives. And the thing I geek out about that is like how wide ranging they are, but how kind of universal they are.
Okay.
And when he explained that, I was like, like it kind of falls into the same thing of like this thing, they have like 4 different outlets, but they're all kind of under the same category.
I see what you mean.
And it's just interesting when you can like whittle something down to like 4 things, and it includes such a wide range of fucking movies and TV shows.
Right. Yeah, I liked how he brought up the examples of like what things fall into which category. That kind of drove the point home. Because I forget what you're saying, like Law and Orders are Northerns because like everything is supposed to like
everything works out.
Yeah, the law is good, like a good force in it.
Yeah, and the Western is like
there's no law.
There's no law, and someone comes in and tries to kind of dictate what the law, or like kind of law, make the line of where the
law is dictated from the outside in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Then I can't remember Eastern.
Southerns were like law is corrupt.
Yeah. Southern is law corrupt, and then Eastern is.
I actually don't remember what Eastern was.
I can't remember either. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I thought it was super interesting. I like those like little, because what it does is like I feel like if you're trying to kind of go through those like crime genres and you know those 4 rules, it can kind of help you pick a pathway and then go towards something like more clear-minded and kind of more with more intention than just kind of being like, I love Westerns, you know, like, and not really kind of defining why. I don't know.
Right. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. Having a little bit of a framework, like knowing like, okay, this is what that genre is.
Right. Yeah. And then saying like, this is what these are my beliefs about crime and the justice system or whatever. So I'll, off the bat, you kind of knowing those 4 routes, you kind of pick one and go like, so I'm going to write like it's that. Right. Or whatever.
Do you ever think of like the stories in your paintings in those parameters? Like, do you ever set stuff up like that for yourself?
Well, I mean, it's like the getting lost and finding home thing is like it's kind of like, that's like the first, if I'm going off of like, I mean, I do like random narratives that aren't those things, but if I go off of those if I'm trying to build off of those 2 narratives, it's like off the bat, I'm starting either going this or like left or right. Like I have to,
got it.
I'm kind of setting and then trying to build off of that and what this might mean based off of that narrative. You know, like if I pick like I'm gonna go to a getting lost thingy, then there's like another segment of like, is it a positive or negative in this painting? Like, is getting lost going to go to, so there like breaks off to like another branch of like, it's negative. And then how do I explain that in a certain way? And like, say if it's negative, maybe there's still going to be a image of a home in the piece to explain that the home is the negative, which I feel like for the most part, when people are lost, it's based around something happening in like their home or whatever, and them kind of having to figure out shit, or internal like shit they're going through. But it usually ends up stemming from their very close surroundings, causing them to feel lost.
Okay.
So then it like, you know, it's like all based off of like little steps here and there. And then usually when I'm painting, I'll start like playing this story in my head and trying to figure out like how to kind of build the narrative up around this person.
Got it. Yeah.
But usually when I'm shooting the model, it's just barely like, I want you to be getting lost. I want you to finding home. Like those, like it's barely built as like just kind of the fork in the road at that point. And then on the painting is where I have to kind of figure out the rest. Unless there's like a real clear like idea I have for something, and I'm like, oh, I want to try to tackle this idea. Then there might be more narrative tools built into the photograph.
I see.
Pre-painting. But yeah.
how often are you like that clear about what you want to do?
Sometimes it's very like clear because I've worked out the idea in my sketchbook.
Okay.
So what happens is I'll like do something in my sketchbook based off of these ideas, and I'm like, okay, I really want to paint this idea. So then all I have to do is kind of show the model the sketch and go like, this is kind of the idea, this is the thingy, and all I want to do is tackle this pose. And usually that's like the one main pose, and then everything after that we might do like split in like some getting lost stuff, some finding home stuff that's like not so locked down, and then some just like whatever stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, usually when I'm shooting, there's like one main idea that I already kind of have locked down that I want to tackle.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything after that's just bonus or for potential studies or little pieces or things like that. Not so important.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, sometimes those are gems too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I'd say for me, for the most part, I just kind of use when I shoot models for reference, those are just like building blocks that I'll try and like piece together something with later on. It's rare that I actually have something that like I have a real sort of like viewpoint that I'm trying to go with for the model itself. It's more like I can take elements from this shoot and maybe combine with other things that I've put together or gathered from somewhere else and just kind of construct it almost like the idea itself is kind of a collage of other parts to it.
Yeah, but it always seems like, at least to me, I might be wrong about this, that you aren't necessarily, because I'm going like a very narrative route, but you seem to be trying to capture like a mood or like this like overall aesthetic feel of the piece.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which lends itself to kind of being able to do that, like kind of collaging these things together.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Being easier at doing that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if I'm trying to do something sad and the gesture seems happy,
right?
Or vice versa. It's like or strength, and if I'm trying to paint something that's based around the strength of a human and all this person kind of portrays as like this moody sadness that model just kind of like leans towards, and it's that's a misstep by me, probably by hiring a model that does that in the first place.
Right, yeah. Maybe, yeah.
But, it's just trying to get ahead of the ball a lot of times. Like, but it is tricky because sometimes you can get lost, at least for me, I can get lost in the narrative to the point where I feel like a lot of models don't work in this realm. Like they're not like trying to accomplish narratives.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
So they're more kind of models in general, they kind of are more prone to just try to take a pretty picture. Mm-hmm. And they kind of seem to know what that means to them specifically. Mm-hmm. And sometimes if I'm like, I need this thing, to them, that's like, you can see it in their brain. Like, I don't know what you want from me because it doesn't.
I see.
Compute. Yeah, that's the word.
Yeah.
Kept thinking commute. I was like, that's not it.
Your brain was computing the word compute.
Yeah. So, sometimes, because it's funny, sometimes I'll see MJ's photos and my photos when we use the same models. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times MJ's like, I just want to get like some pretty stuff with hands.
Right.
And some, and her pictures come out way better than mine a lot of times. Mm. But it ends up being a thing where I think MJ's a lot less narrative than I am as well. Mm-hmm. And she kind of leans towards just having the overall feel of whimsy is kind of her, like her cup of tea.
Yeah.
So she can kind of get away with that without having to have the model like, I don't know, be whimsy.
Yeah. Okay.
So it is a tricky thing that I'm still learning how to get better at.
I'm curious, have you ever like reached out to like an actress, for example, or something?
I was just thinking that. There's an actress I found on like Instagram that's from Santa Rosa.
Oh, really?
Who was like, I wonder how it would be to work with her, because just because of that reason of like, I can just kind of set the scene and see what she does.
Yeah, I'm just curious if that would be a better suited for your purposes.
Yeah, me and MJ just talked about that not too long ago. I was like, this lady's an actress and she does some modeling, so she might be like a really good like person to hire for a shoot. Yeah, I still haven't done it yet, but it would be cool to see the difference for sure.
Yeah,
I think it might work real well. Because there's this thing I keep telling MJ I'm looking for in models, because we usually use the same models, but I think what we're finding now is that she kind of has this specific look that she's going for, and I'm the more and more I shoot models, the more I'm leaning towards like a fearlessness to kind of go places.
I see.
So like a lot of times if you have like a model who's like, I want to look pretty in a picture, if I'm like, I want you to look like everything was pulled out from underneath you. It's like you can see just like the look in their face of like, I don't know what the fuck you mean.
Exactly.
and it's also like, I don't know. I don't want to go there as, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Sometimes you get a model and she's so down for that shit. She's so down to like go to like these vulnerable places. Like, we worked, like, I think our first model we worked with, her name is like Abigail something. Her name's like Arrow something on Instagram. She's a fucking beast, but she's probably the best model we've worked with, as far as for me, because she can like instantly, like I remember explaining a concept to her and she just instantly like went there with like her face, and you can just kind of tell she like mentally went there to like accomplish the goal, and you're like, I need that all the time. So when we look for models, MJ's looking for a specific, like, I like how this person looks, and I'm like, I like how this person looks fearless. Like they look like they can do whatever they want and not necessarily worry about looking good for Instagram or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. It's this weird potential like fork in the road where we might have to just hire two different models.
Sure.
And she could be like my assistant for my shoots or something, and I can assist her on her shoots, because it is nice having a second hand.
Oh yeah, I bet.
But yeah, I don't know. The dilemmas of using a model.
Yeah. Bringing a third, or well, second person really, but yeah, bringing a third person into the idea like that, just having it, not knowing exactly what you're going to get out of it.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing, is when you find models that you really like working with, there's that thing where, what do I just continue painting this person because they're the only person that I can kind of trust to like do what I want?
Right.
Or, but then you like, I'm kind of tired of painting this person. Like,
right. Yeah, exactly.
I kind of want to paint someone new, because you do like learn this person, you know, like how to paint them. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like you're like, all right, it ends up being too easy in a weird way. It's like, I know how to paint you. I've painted you too many times. Now I'm good. I need a challenge.
Yeah. There's actually probably relatively few models I go back to. A lot of the paintings that I do of the same model, they're from the same shoot. I don't do a lot of hiring the same model for different purposes. Yeah. Probably just because I just like the variety of it more so than I'm looking for something specific every time.
For sure. That makes sense. I mean, the reason I kind of I might return back to a model is because it's like, if I have a narrative I want to tackle, I'm like, this person would be perfect for that. Right. You know, it's like, instead of having the trickiness of being like, let me now find a person that would be perfect for this. And somehow, hopefully they land like in the time frame that I would need them to kind of, you know, it's like, first you have to find this person, hope they're free to do it and willing to do it. And then and then can do it in the time frame that you need, or else, I don't know. Sometimes I wish I'd lived in fucking LA.
Yeah. Yeah, you probably find plenty of actresses to try it out with. Yeah.
Or actress/models, or, you know, it's just overrun with them there.
Right, exactly, yeah.
And all of them are probably trying to, like, find things to do while they're not working.
Probably, yeah.
It is what it is. But yeah, I know we're going to Portland next week, and we have 2 miles lined up for that, which is cool.
Nice.
So hopefully that works out.
What's the occasion?
I've talked about how we got that mural job. Right?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast, but
I
yeah.
don't know either. But we got some, like, cool mural job in Tiger.
Oh, sure. Tiger. Yeah.
Oregon.
It's like a suburb outside of Portland. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to go. It's working with this, like, museum in Tigard, and they want us to go there and kind of, like, do some research out there. So we're going to go do that this weekend.
Nice.
We figured we'd try to get some shooting in. I tried to get a podcast in, but nothing's hit yet.
Oh, okay. Dang.
So I'll keep trying until we go. If I can lock one in, that would be awesome. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. It's trying to do the mural thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Still trying to do it. It's definitely a big avenue for sure. This is like our first big paying job. I don't know if we talked about this or not last episode. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, if and we're trying to, like, it's like a thing where there's like mural jobs that are like $100,000 mural jobs, and to get them you need to have, like, worked. There's like they'll say, like, you need to have done a mural that's paid at least this much to, like, kind of do this mural or whatever. And so this lets us kind of get into that category of applying for those murals and seeing more credible, and hopefully getting a couple big mural jobs. And then if that happens, then I'm about to quit my goddamn job.
Oh, really?
Is the plan.
Okay.
If we can land some, like...
Oh, if you get those, like, big murals, yeah.
Yeah, if we could land, like, 2... If we can set up, like, 2, then we're probably going to take a jump.
Damn.
Like 2 big ones.
Uh-huh.
But we'll see. Or, like, a shitload of small ones. I'm fine with, too.
Yeah.
Damn,
that's exciting and scary at the same time.
Exciting and scary. Yeah. I'm excited and scared.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is what it is. I just hate my goddamn job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it seems like we have potential. Everything we're working on, like always, is to quit our job and do this full time. So the mural thing seems like a huge potential. And if we can really start getting more and more jobs, it seems like it can really make it an easy transition.
So are you guys, like, trying to tackle it as a team together? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Have you found that to be, like in terms of, like, pitching
Horrible.
things easier or harder?
So she's the one kind of reaching out and applying for all these murals. I don't know if it makes it easier or harder. It does make it a bit tricky. At least the working as a team to do murals is a bit tricky, just because we're 2 artists that are very stubborn in a weird way.
Yeah.
And we haven't worked out those kinks. So I have a feeling it's going to be, we've had, like, long grumpy talks about this.
Yeah.
I think a lot of our murals are going to end up having to be, like, 2 figures in it.
Okay.
Specifically because it's like, you have one, I have another. Like, we have to figure out how to meld our 2 art styles, which aren't that different from each other, but are into each other, and either create something new or or kind of keep them separate, but have them like intertwine like other collaborative mural work, artwork.
Right.
Stuff.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the mural dilemma we're having. That seems to be the most frustrating and tense parts of doing murals. But
why is that? Like, are there things that is like really hard to compromise on?
I think what it ends up being is like, say, like for instance, this mural we did down the street with like the fighting one.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that one, I designed it. And then, so what ends up happening is like MJ's painting it and she wants to like change it somehow.
Yeah.
And because I own that idea of the thingy, of the image, I'm like, but why would we add that? Because in my head, I've written a whole, like, this is the, what we're attempting. We're attempting this very simple, like, everything should be pulled away from the idea so that it's very easily taken as good versus evil. And like,
right.
And like, we don't want to add any extra, like, potential, like talking points. Like, we don't want to, she wanted to add, like, creatures and like little bunny rabbits or something. And I was like, but that doesn't make sense for what we're doing.
Yeah.
And then so it ends up being a thing where she wants to add something. And I'm like, but how does that make sense? Because I created this thing separate from her. But,
would there be a situation where she comes up with the idea and like you help execute her idea in that way?
Well, I would be perfectly fine with that. But I think I would have to, I think if that happens, just like how she did kind of the same thing with me, you kind of have to look at it like it's work rather than like it's your work.
Right.
So you have to be, but that's why we're trying to figure out, like, how do we make sure that that doesn't happen again? If we have a project, we have to both kind of have a hand in creating this thing.
Right. Okay.
One of the big issues is that I draw a shitload and MJ doesn't.
I see.
And so in that like art, in that realm of like drawing something up for the concept,
you're way more experienced in creating the concepts
right.
than she is. Yeah.
And not only that, but like if we're going off this drawing, she's going to have to, because I don't know how that's going to, I mean, maybe we're going to have to figure out something where like my part of the mural is more finished and hers is kind of like a loose drawing that mine is interacting with, but somehow
I see.
I have to adapt to her looseness and kind of just having like because you know, like you do similar things with like just like a thumbnail, so it's like
right.
very roughly done, nowhere
right.
near what the finished product is going to look like
most of the time. Yeah.
And I think we're gonna have to figure out how I can have my idea next to hers or on the same page as hers, where hers is rough and mine is finished, just because that's how I do my stuff.
Yeah.
And then going from there, which seems like a headache.
Yeah. Seems like more work than you want it to be.
Yeah. Well, I just like to be more planned out.
Right. Yeah. For a mural though, yeah. For me, it would make more sense. You got to plan that out way more than a rough sketch, unless you're just like so prolific as a muralist, you just have it down.
Yeah, well, maybe I'm just so prolific as a muralist.
Yeah.
No diss, but yeah. It's like, but I don't know. Me and my wife were both stubborn in our pursuits of art. So
that reminded me though of, I was hanging out with my buddy Gerard, who does murals in Alameda County a lot. Hopefully we have him on the podcast soon, but
is he the one that sent like,
yeah.
MJ's been talking to him too. I'd be down to have him on for sure. Yeah.
He's super experienced with murals, like the ins and outs of just dealing with, all that. So
yeah, he's been a big help. Shout out.
Shout out Gerard. But anyway, she was telling me that like cause when I went to go hang out with him the other day, he was just wrapping up a mural with this young kid that he hired just to, help him out with the painting, just finishing touches. And he's saying like the difference between like hiring just like a young kid like intern almost versus like an experienced muralist. Like that experienced muralist might do like a better job quicker, but he might have to add his own little 2 cents into the design. And he's just like, well, why'd you add that? And he's just like, well, because it looks better now, doesn't it? It's like, oh, God damn it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I totally get that. What the fuck was I talking? There was another, it might have been Joe Rogan again. I don't know if it was one of the ones I think it had to be, but someone was talking about the process of an artist and how you kind of get upset. It might have been the Malcolm Gladwell about how I can't look at someone else create and tell them, I can't critique how they do something because I'm too obsessed with how my process is. Yeah, that was Malcolm Gladwell.
I think you're right. Yeah, that sounds kind of familiar.
That's so spot on what me and MJ go through.
Yeah.
It's like, because, like, for instance, MJ, her painting process literally makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
Like, from like the, like, she did a painting recently where the whole time I'm like, this looks really, really bad. And then like, I'm trying to like help her out and everything I'm like even painting on her painting.
Yeah.
And then what she'll do is she'll like go back over everything I did and make it bad again. And then at the end, it looks like her finished pieces. And you're like, I don't know how you got there.
Yeah.
And I can't even comprehend it. But somehow in your mind, it makes sense. But to me, it literally makes no sense. Like I have to like not look at it ever. I can't. When she's in the process of creating, I can't look at it. I think she does show me when she kind of is at the end point. And I think that's kind of where I can give her some like criticisms and my point of view. But I think when she's actually painting in like the very early stages and pretty much the entire time she's painting the figure, I kind of can't look at it.
I see.
Because it drives me nuts.
Yeah.
And I think that applies to a lot of artists I even like and, you know, follow on Instagram or whatever. A lot of times I'll see them working or I'll see them do something and it just drives me insane. Like how people will do cross hatching or something. Okay. Things like that where I'm like, why didn't you like follow the curvature of that part, you know, rather than just doing like straight lines or something like that. You know what I mean? Like those things or like the way they applied lines, how clean they did it rather than like sometimes they'll do like sloppy shit that I'm like, there's no necessary reason to do that. Or it's things like that where it's like, I'll look at them like, I don't get it, but it's not like I don't want it to exist and I don't like their work. Yeah. It's just like when I watch them do it, like if there's a process video, it drives me nuts. Yeah. Or sometimes even the finished product. And then there's other artists where I see how they work and it just fucking floors me and I like love it. I'm like, that's the fucking way you do it. You know what I mean? Like, but I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. There are definitely some like process videos where I look at them like, yeah, that's never how I would ever try and approach a painting like that. And like, it isn't until the very end where like they just, I don't know what it is. It just adds something to it. It just comes together.
It's fucking weird. I mean, I get it because I see it in my own work. You know, it's like that last 10% where like shit really starts getting good. You're like, oh, that's awesome. You know, but there are some people that literally, I should stop saying literally, that like fucking, you're British. Yeah, bruv. That 90% of the shit, I don't understand why. And the last 10% is like 90% of why I enjoy their work. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, well, you did all that work and the whole time I'm fucking pulling my hair out. I'm like, it looks horrible. And then that last 10% all of a sudden accounts for 90% of why your painting is good to me. Yeah. I don't think that applies to like, I understand like the last 10% of my painting really like focuses it and like you see like it just like makes it from like good to really good, or hope for, or from like mediocre to good,
Right. Sure.
whatever. But there is this, but that's like, maybe like that's like 40% of it is from that last 10%, let's say.
Okay.
But it is weird watching people who their painting sucks until the last 10%. And then you're like, how'd you do that? It makes no sense to me. Why don't you just do the last 10% always? Just get the first 90%.
Yeah. Maybe they get to that point eventually.
Yeah.
Where they're like, why am I fucking around with their 90% that sucks? Just get to the good stuff.
There's like, I don't know. I wish I remembered.
Probably like all those like process time-lapse videos are pretty misleading just in general. Like they're definitely not like how you should probably try and learn to paint.
No,
like,
for sure.
So yeah, it's more just like almost like a curiosity sort of thing. Like I just satisfying my curiosity about how somebody constructs a painting.
Right.
But yeah, it is a thing where because you're watching just a time lapse, you don't get any sense of what's going on in their head, like all the stops and starts and like the mental like juggling that they're doing and like all the insecurities and doubts they're having about the painting while they're doing it themselves too. But
I don't even mean time lapse. I mean more like when people show like them actually applying stuff in real time, like just like little snippets. Like,
oh sure, yeah, I kind of put it under the same umbrella, but I know what you mean.
But in those moments, those are the weird moments where I'm like, why are you applying it like that? You know what I mean? Or it happens a lot. I feel like with people when they're drawing or doing ink stuff. Those are probably the two times where it kind of either bugs me or I get like, I'm super into it. Like for instance, Villy art,
Okay, sure. Mm-hmm.
Like the way he does his stuff, I really like it. Like I would never draw like he does, but I like his method and his process of how he does what he does. Mm-hmm. And it all makes sense to me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I look at it, I go like, oh, that's awesome. You're super good. And the way you apply all of your marks, and for the reason why I really like how you've come to this point in how you do things. And there's another guy. He's like an ink guy. He was someone's top 5 alive. God, I should just fucking. He does those like bird monster things, like on like what was his name? What was dude's name from? He came up with his wife. It was your buddy. God.
Oh, Jackson Dryden.
Jackson, yeah. Mm-hmm. You remember his top 5s?
Cannot remember at this point.
He had like an ink guy on. But, like another person to point out is Nate Van Dyke, another ink guy.
Sure.
The way he applies his marks, I really like, and it makes sense to me,
Yeah, I'd have to see who you're talking about, but I'm sure I've seen that.
I can try to find it while we talk. I don't know how good that's going to work, but we'll figure it out together. Patrick Matthews is another person who he applies like his ink work. I like how he applies his marks.
Oh, yeah.
Another person, but it's kind of like that thing of like, I think it's him. Yeah. Aaron Horkey.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Sure.
Sorry. I wish I knew names, but him, like every time I look at his work, I'm always like, God damn, you are a fucking beast when it comes to like making marks.
Oh yeah.
He's just so goddamn good at it. And everything makes sense to me. You could see in his work how like intentional everything is. Mm-hmm. How much like he's thought about how to build these textures based off of, how light hits it or whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, one of those pen people that I just geek out on. I'm never going to draw like him, but,
right.
But I just like how, and then there's, people like my wife will drive me nuts for the first 90%.
Did you ever go through a phase where you would see artists and just like, I want to draw like them or do what they wanted or wanted to do what they do and tried it on for size, basically?
I've never maybe like Barry McGee when I was very, very young.
Okay.
Like I would just bite his shit. Is that what you mean?
I don't, maybe bite his shit is like the extreme version of that, but I just mean more like I want to try their technique. So I'm going to like do my own shit, but try it in like their style.
Maybe. I can't think of it right now. I'm sure. I mean, I'm always trying to like break down how people do things. And then if it's something that like I think I can do, or I might try out a technique, but I always dip my toes into things. Do you know what I mean? Like
right.
I never I never go like, oh, I really like what they did there, and now I'm just gonna fucking do that hard in my painting.
Yeah.
I'm always like, let me try this out like a little bit in this little corner of the piece or something like that.
I see.
And
yeah.
like, oh, okay, that was cool. Like that worked out, and then I like will build it. Like I'll try it more and more and get more comfortable with whatever technique I'm trying to learn.
I see.
But I don't think I ever try to just kind of go hard in the paint with someone's style. At least not that I could think of. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, it's like, I remember last year or I don't know when, but I remember really trying to put an emphasis on learning how to like add like that like classic cartoon.
Oh, okay.
Or like learning a bit of that just kind of in general. And I tried that, and I would just work that into my sketchbook to kind of practice.
Right.
But even then, I feel like there's still a part of it that's not even that. It's just kind of like me doing a take on that ish. Like I'm trying to like learn it, but also not do it. Not just trying to like draw Mickey Mouse on my shit. You know what I mean? To get like pop culture reference points for people that might want to buy art. You know what I mean?
I know exactly.
It's almost like I'm trying to figure out if I can use it for my work in a way that would make me geek out about it, make me interested in how it was used, which is the tricky part about just anything like that, I think. Like if you're going to do something dramatic like a cartoon figure or something in your work. Yeah. There's some people that I think can intertwine stuff like that really well. But it's never like beating you over the head with it. It's always just like a bit of what they're doing. Kind of what was his name? The one at Myris Gallery.
Oh, Jose Luis.
He wasn't using like cartoon shit, but he's kind of like one of those people where he has techniques that just are random, and you could paint a whole painting like that, but he just kind of puts it in there a bit. I like that kind of shit. I like when people like just throw in a little bit of randomness that probably took a lot of time to learn that. Right. Yeah. But they're using it with like a very intentional kind of like in a very intentional way to make their art better, but it's not overwhelming. It's not like I'm going to paint fucking cartoons from now on. Right. You know, it's can I work this into my work? And if so, I want to make sure I'm doing it right. It's not shit. Right. Because people do that too. They fucking overstep their bounds, and all of a sudden they have a section of their work that's fucking amateur. Right. And then what they do well is great, and it points, all it does is point a finger at the shit that they're trying to do that they can't do. Right, yeah. And you're like... Sticks out, yeah. Yeah, and you're like, ugh, you should have fucking worked on that better.
Oh, I see that all the time, yeah.
And I think that's the mindset. They're lacking that mindset of like, you have to respect whatever that thing is. You know what I mean? You have to really take the time to learn it if you want to do it. You can't just fucking, cool, I'll just add this to it because I think it'll look cool in there. Right. Yeah. And I think you're also going to be blind to it as well. You're going to be blind to how bad it is. It's like, I was talking to someone, our friend Kaneba. She was we were talking about tattoos yesterday. And she was talking about how she wants to get a tattoo, and we started talking about like traditional tattoos and like cholo tattoo because like her brother-in-law got a tattoo. That's like a cholo tattoo
Mm-hmm.
done by like a cholo tattoo artist that's done it forever.
Okay.
And we started talking about like, I don't know if that, she was like, what do you think of this? And I was like, I literally don't know if that's good or bad because I don't know anything about that art form.
Right. Okay.
Like to me, it doesn't look great, but I also came from like a graffiti world where shit that people thinks is horrible,
Yeah.
I think is some of the dopest shit. I'm
Right.
like, you don't know how hard that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the shit that they think is dope, I'm like, that's garbage. That's like a tribal tattoo that you're into. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like it's not good, but it's that like, because I've lived in that world where I can kind of see the, like, what it takes to understand it. I kind of respect someone else's art form, and knowing that if I'm going to try to attempt it, it takes a lot of time to even get like probably mediocre at it.
Right.
Or even just
Get passable. Yeah.
Yeah. Or just understanding it, which is tricky.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know how we got here.
Yeah. Where were we going with that? I forget now.
I don't know. I think we started by me talking. I think we were talking about murals, and I started on this long tangent of talking shit about MJ.
Yeah.
Well, what's new?
Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah. I don't know.
So yeah, mural. You got anything else after the Portland thing?
I got to start painting, like for bigger shows. So we have 2 big shows next year that are going to take up a lot of time. So I got to start as soon as possible. And we're going to be painting, I think, pretty like good sized paintings for us. You know, what we consider large paintings. They're not going to be any fucking Sergio last year's overworked show paintings where the one was like, how big was your biggest one? Like 6x4 or some shit like that?
Oh, yeah.
4x6?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not doing any of those, but I'm going to try to paint some big pieces.
I see.
For what I consider big. Something maybe like half the size of that, which is still pretty substantial to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's still like 2 feet by 3 feet. It's pretty decent size. Yeah.
Yeah. And I have this idea for a piece, and I don't even know how I would even pull it off, or because I want to do a piece where like someone's giving someone a piggyback ride.
Yeah.
There's more to it, but that's the main obstacle of it, because I want it to be from the feet of the bottom piggyback rider to the top of the top person. And I almost want the persons to potentially maybe have stuff like their hands above. So what would end up happening is the fucking thing would have to be super tall.
Right. Yeah.
Which I want to take a stab at. I don't know if I'm going to do that these shows, but in my head, it's something I'm interested in maybe doing. So we'll see. We'll see if that works out or not.
Yeah. I'll be interested in seeing that come together too.
Yeah. It might have to be pushed back and maybe never done.
Yeah.
But right now, it's one of those things where I'm like, how do I get someone to give someone else a piggyback ride and then do the cool shit I want?
Right.
And then on top of that, then have to paint that. Because it would have to be like, I don't know. I would want it to almost be like pretty close to like life size.
Yeah.
Which would be pretty tall.
Yeah, even like 2 people, because to be life size, that would have to be like the size of a person and a half at least, I would imagine.
Yeah. But girls are shorter. So maybe it would be like, no diss girls. Maybe it'd be like
MJ and I don't know who's another short
7 feet tall or 8 feet tall or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something like that. But the challenge seems fun to me, and it seems like it would be like one of those. It also seems like it could potentially be that like awe factor we've talked about, you know,
right,
like that,
right.
like if you walk into a show and there's just like this extremely tall, hopefully well done piggyback painting.
Yeah.
To me, it seems like something I would definitely instantly want to walk towards.
Right.
And,
yeah, that could be cool. Yeah, especially being the size of it, it just draws people to it.
Yeah, but I don't know how we even got there.
No, I was just asking what you were up to after that.
Yeah, just a lot of. How about you?
Yeah, that actually reminds me of I've had this idea that I came up with after doing the last landscape show that I was in, where I just kind of came to this realization with my work and where I was going with it, that the way I was kind of going about things, like in terms of planning my art and everything, just wasn't working out. Like this year was just totally just felt like I was being pulled in too many different directions. Maybe a bit feeling that way for a while now, but what I want to do instead of trying to do, because it's almost like I feel like I'm trying to do like two different art careers at the same time.
Right, which you kind of are.
Yeah. So instead of trying to do that in that way, I wanted to do instead like cut the amount of figurative paintings that I'm doing way down, but be more ambitious with the paintings that I do. So doing like, I don't know, like just throwing it out there, maybe like 4 paintings a year of figurative pieces, but like spend as much time as I need on them to make them as good as I can, instead of putting them out like for group shows or trying to put together what do you call it, just like for like group shows and stuff, or put together like a solo show and just put out figurative paintings as they come for me, and focus the majority of my output on landscape paintings. Because what I've noticed is that I have way more like reference for landscape painting that I'll never get to, but I can actually put those out a lot quicker, just because of how I paint landscapes and what I'm really trying to accomplish with the landscape paintings. It's not a thing that necessarily takes up the same amount of time as what I would hope to accomplish, like the figurative paintings that I have in mind to want to do take up way more time than the average landscape painting that I want to do. Right. So in order to do that, I feel like I need to almost just do the figurative pieces as a side project and go a lot more towards putting like my career into the landscapes, because I see there's a lot more opportunity and easier opportunities for me to show the landscape work. Like there's places, it's two things that are happening that one is holding back the other, where I can either go all in with the figurative work and just kind of make it way harder on myself. Right. Or I could go with the landscape work and find new galleries way quicker and put out a lot more paintings easier. Right. So for the next year, that's kind of going to be my experiment of putting together a portfolio of new landscape paintings. It also comes from just wanting to travel more and having a good reason to travel, to paint more landscapes and stuff. For sure. So for me, it's kind of all around a positive when I break it down that way.
Yeah, it makes sense. You know, it does seem like, kind of when you sum it up, it does seem like there almost was kind of had to be a point where you had to almost decide one over the other in a weird way. Yeah. Yeah. I wonder, because what I'm curious about is that, you know, like your landscape stuff is just, it's very traditional. Right. And your figurative stuff always seemed to be a bit on the more kind of like modern, like a very more modern style, and much more like, you know, leaning towards those types of galleries. Was there a reason why you didn't ever go towards like figurative stuff being more on the traditional end?
Kind of. It's more just kind of my own sort of sensibilities about figurative work, where it almost felt like traditional figures had just been done to death. Not that I don't think landscapes are necessarily not done to death either in that same way, but it kind of is a different mindset I have around the two, where I feel like figurative art, I don't know, there's a part of me that could be somewhat satisfied with just doing more like traditional fine art kind of figurative work, but it's also very limiting to my creativity and imagination to go that route. So it's more just like my own personal self-satisfaction to feel like I need to push the genre more on my end. Whereas with the figurative work, it's more like I'm trying to capture, or landscape work, I'm trying to more capture a certain mood or effect or something to the best of my ability, and just using like more traditional methods kind of lends itself more to that.
Do you think if you picked a different like subject matter for instance, if you decided I'm going to paint like horses or like something like that, you know what I mean? Like fucking whatever. You think you would paint those traditional?
That's a good question.
Because you have been painting pets, and they do seem more like a traditional way to paint in general. And there have been in the history artists who like paint, horses or some, you know what I mean? Like, or like, I mean, we don't really have like army horses anymore. I don't know, but you know what I mean? Like there has been like I don't know. I'm just picking your brain now. But do you think you would feel that obligation to kind of like the figurative stuff where you feel this obligation to kind of, did you say, was that that was the one you said you want to push forward?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I do see some people doing that, like painting animals or wildlife in a more sort of contemporary way. And maybe it's just because I haven't painted those as much. I don't feel like I've stagnated in my attempts at painting like animals and wildlife and all that. So maybe if I dedicated a lot more time to painting that kind of thing, I'd feel different about it. But I don't know. I haven't quite necessarily felt the need to like be super contemporary with the way I paint landscapes, even though I've been doing them professionally for the same amount of time as been doing my figurative work. Right. And I've done some slightly experimental stuff with landscapes before, but it just felt like I was almost adding like unnecessary elements to what I was doing. Whereas with the figure, I feel it more necessary to paint something more than just like a nude or a standard portrait.
Do you think that's because in like, let's say the figurative category, the people you look up to are kind of also pursue it that way, and like the landscape stuff, I don't know who you look up to in the landscape stuff, but do you think that they pursue it more of a classical way? Is that
that's possible. That there's a lot to do with that as well. Like the people I look up to, as far as landscapes, they're probably more traditional just because that's just who I see more of. And they're just doing it to such a high degree. Right. Yeah. And there is a part of me that would just like paint figures, just paint a standard nude to like such a high degree that it's kind of undeniable the skill level. But at the same time, just aesthetically, I'm more drawn to doing more things around the female figure that have more of a element than just the body itself. Right. So with landscapes, I don't feel that same need to add more to the landscape other than what's already there. Right.
Yeah. I mean, I only asked because I'm just curious as to like, I'm just trying to figure out what might be the reason why you feel compelled to do it one way over the other.
Right.
And I'm trying to see if it's based off of your taste and what you think is good.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure a lot of that because, I think a lot of what I look at, or a lot of where I'm drawn to paint, like even to this day, as much as like I've figured out what I like to paint, it's still very much influenced by what I like to see. I kind of like to just contribute more to what I'm interested in already.
Right.
And add to it.
For sure.
Yeah. So, I feel like doing less figurative work, but more of having more time to dedicate to one piece will add to that sort of awe-inspiring.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah. Like I already have this idea for something I want to do, and I want to do it. Like it'll have to be, in order to do justice to it, it'll have to be probably like the size of that piece I did before, like 4x6. So as long as I don't have, if I don't commit myself to having to do it for a specific show, I'll do a better job with it.
Right.
And if I'm already like busy enough doing work for shows, like for landscape galleries, then I don't have to really worry about it too much for landscapes. Especially like these last couple of paintings that I did for these group shows, it's kind of sucks to get to that point where you feel like you can go further, but you've already committed to the show. So you can only get it to like 85-90% of what you think it can be. And it's like, I'm just getting kind of sick of stopping before I want to.
For sure. It's that last 10%.
Yeah.
Can change a piece for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it is, I think we've talked about it on this maybe, but like, I've been thinking about it for a while, and I'm pretty sure we talked about it. But the idea of like pursuing hits over albums is a much better model nowadays.
Yeah.
Because, you can, like, there are pieces from artists that I like truly love. And if I like look at their body of work, it's like, well, I love like 3 pieces and they haven't even done much. But those 3 pieces are fucking so good that I consider this person a super great artist.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it's like this weird thing of like joining every group show isn't going to really help your career.
Right.
It is very much a thing that helps a gallery build clients and build hype. Yeah. So if you look out for yourself and you're like, I'm going to make these fucking hits. If you I think there is a bit of marketing that goes along with that when it comes to, promoting those hits to making sure that you get the most bang for your buck. But I think if you play it out right, that really can pay off in the long run, in my opinion. So I don't know.
Yeah. To carry that analogy further, it's like, I'll make a hit every so often with the figurative work and create those landscape EPs every few months or whatever. Then, do a greatest hits museum show in the, I don't know, however long it takes for me to create enough body of work of really good figurative pieces, but, not having to rely on that to make money. 'Cause I don't know, like it was, the whole thing with the last series I did being basically a monetary flop, and dedicating like, I don't know, 6 months or however long it was I spent on that. And, I mean, I knew kind of going into it what I was signing up for, but at the same time, it's like, trying to juggle those two things. I thought that I'd be able to spend more time on fleshing out that body of work even further, but really I just had to dedicate so much time to to landscape work to stay afloat. So I was like, well, why am I even doing this to myself? I should just, since I do like doing the landscape painting stuff, and I just feel like I'm don't have enough time to dedicate to either one, I'll just pick the lane that just feels more comfortable, and like I can be more prolific in this lane, and not that I feel like I'm just gonna like rush through the landscape work, but I just know that I can do a better job if I'm working fast with the landscapes and working slower with the figurative work.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It kind of reminds me of, in the mixed martial arts world, there are like these two kind of, ways of thinking about how to get good at that. And there's the well-rounded mixed martial artist, and then there's like the specialty person.
Okay.
And what they're realizing, so what happened was back when like the UFC started, right? They would have like a jiu-jitsu guy and a boxer guy and a whatever, and they would all fight each other. And then all of a sudden everyone would realize like, fuck, these jiu-jitsu guys are murdering us, once they get a hand on us. So all of them were like, we have to like learn jiu-jitsu now. So then they would learn jiu-jitsu, and then the wrestler guy would fucking take him down and just hold him down. They're like, fuck, we gotta learn wrestling now, right?
Okay.
And so that created this idea that you have to be good at every single version of mixed martial arts. And so all these people became mixed martial artists, like well-rounded in all, not a specialist in any. And then what ended up happening is there was these specialists that would learn the basics of everything, but spend a shitload of time focusing on what they knew they were good at.
I see.
And if you look at the champions of today, they're all specialists. They're all people who are great at who stick to what they're great at, and then they learn little bits to kind of protect them. I mean, that part doesn't really apply to this scenario,
sure.
but it's this idea of like, you can spread yourself thin easily because you're kind of, I don't know. It's one of those things too, as an artist, you have to kind of focus on that, because especially nowadays, you see such a wide range of art, and you go like, oh, this is fucking awesome. That's awesome. This is awesome. That's awesome. I want this. I want that. I want that skill. I want this skill. I want that skill.
Right.
And then what can end up happening is you end up being like this mixed martial artist. You're like mixed. It's almost a good switch over. But it's like this, like you can be subpar at everything.
Yeah.
But if you look at the people who are really killing it, who are, like the Aaron, whatever his last name was, because I'm hella good at names. He's a specialist at his fucking craft. He's not out doing oil paintings. He might for funsies, right? But he's very focused on his specialty skill. I mean, there's always going to be like the fucking James Jeans who just fuck that guy for being so awesome.
Yeah.
Are you bad at anything? You know what I mean? But right. But there's also, I'm sure he probably looks at the guys that are like specialty artists at one thing. You're like, fuck.
Yeah, maybe.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In his early days, he specialized a lot in his sketchbook, like just getting so good at drawing and that and experimenting, all that. Yeah. It just paid off in that way.
I think that's a huge skill to have as an artist in general. I'm pretty happy that I'm a sketchbook addict.
Yeah.
And the more and more I like do art, the more I think like if you spend a lot of time doing one art skill, I feel like learning how to draw is such an important tool to have.
Oh, learning to draw is the key to everything, I feel like.
Yeah, I think so too. And then from there you can pick a medium and then just kind of, you have like a head start is what you do. Cause
oh, for sure. Yeah.
And you can adapt it to so many different mediums.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who just started they became good oil painters really quickly just because they knew how to draw. Yeah. Getting into it.
Yeah, and I think, thank you. And I think, what the fuck? I lost my train of thought
Because you had to pat yourself on the back.
because I saw a joke. I was like, joke. God damn it. But yeah, I don't know. If I was an upcoming artist, I remember sometimes you'll see like someone who's like, I'm fucking horrible at drawing. And you're like,
Yeah.
and you look in, they're like a painter, but they're not a good painter. And you're like, well, maybe take 2 steps back and start drawing and then fucking revisit painting. And you might be surprised of like how much better you are at painting just based off of that.
You just got critiqued by waiting to dry.
Yeah. Who is that guy anyways?
A random DJ guy off of Fiverr.com.
Really?
Yeah.
How does that work? You just type in what you want. He'll it's like adapted to say it.
Yeah. It's basically
formatted to.
Yeah. You just basically like give them your little script of what you want.
That's crazy. But yeah, I forgot we got on this shit.
Oh, just
Should
talking about.
Should we do questions?
Yeah, let's see if we got any more questions than we'd had before.
Question time with Waiting to Dry.
It's time for Sergio's Question Corner.
It's not exactly, but
Hey, what the fuck? What about me?
exactly. You got 4 of them. Well, one of them is in Russian. If you want to translate that.
Vodka.
Yeah. That's the response to whatever that was.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what am I doing?
Do you want me to read them or?
Yeah, you read them.
Okay.
No one wants to hear me read.
Restivo Art asks, hey guys, what are your middle names? What's the deal with middle names anyway?
Fuck my middle name. I'm never telling anyone.
Is that true?
It took MJ like 4 years to learn my middle name. You think I'm going to just give it up willy-nilly?
Is that true?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Mine is basically my mom's maiden name, which is Cazares or Casares if you're doing it in the Latino style.
You know what? Because you've given up your middle name, I'll do mine. My middle name is Neck Snapper.
Neck Snapper.
I'm embarrassed because it's so cool.
Yeah. And what's the deal with middle names anyway? What's the deal with middle names? They're not your first name. They're not your last name.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't fucking understand middle names. There's a ton of countries that don't have middle names. My mom didn't have a middle name.
Oh, really?
I think that's a Tongan. That's not a Tongan thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. Latinos, they have like 5 middle names.
I know. God, MJ, when we got married, she was trying to change her name to like a fucking paragraph.
Yeah.
Chill. But yeah, I don't know. Got not much to say about middle name. I hate mine and I hate them. I feel like parents should take advantage of the middle name and name their kids middle name something awesome like Neck Snapper or something like Dragon fucking Slayer or something.
Right.
Something fucking cool because it's, I don't know. That's the one time you don't have to take a name super serious.
Okay. What do you think of what Kevin Smith did
What did he
for
do?
his daughter? He named her, or he gave her, I think it was Kevin Smith. It might not have been him, but, gave her daughter the middle name Danger, so she could say Danger is my middle name.
That's fucking awesome. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's the kind of shit I'm talking about. But yeah, I don't know. I just think that's the one moment you can like joke, you can make a funny dad joke.
Yeah. As Kevin Smith did. Yeah.
Like using a name and not having any real consequences because they don't have to put Danger Smith in a fucking resume or something.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I don't know. Take advantage of it, parents.
Yeah.
Or future parents, I should say. Parents' priority.
You should be a parent consultant since you'll never be one. Yeah.
That's right. What else we got?
Let's see. Yuzi Koi asks, do you push through a shit painting until it starts to get good or just start again?
Oof. I push through, but I hate it the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very rare that I decide, oh, this painting is not worth saving and just start over.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot that I'll just after the fact decide that's like, oh, it's kind of a shit painting.
Yeah.
Do it that way.
And sometimes you get the freedom to like fuck around a bit. You know, it's like sometimes when the painting's good, you don't want to fuck it up. So you're like, the whole time you're trying to keep it together. You're trying to steer that ship straight.
Yeah.
But sometimes if a piece is tough the whole way through, you know, once you get to a certain point, you can be like, you know what, let me try some shit out and like play around a bit. And if it fucks up, what's the worst that could happen? And sometimes you find out some cool shit then. So I don't know.
Yeah. You just mean like this one's doomed anyway, so might as well fuck with it.
Yeah. Even if it's, I don't know. I think I'm always kind of looking for a reason to be like, let's fuck around a bit. So if a painting's not going well, to me, that's like, all right, let's fuck around a bit. What's the worst that could happen? Mm-hmm. Let's you know, take a left turn when we shouldn't.
If a painting is going well, do you feel less inclined to do that then?
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier, Sergio, when you obviously were not listening. Yeah, when a painting's going good, I feel like it's more like you're trying to not fuck it up. You're trying to be like, oh, this is coming out really good. Let's make sure to like really be thoughtful about what we do from here on out.
I was playing the part of the listener who zoned out for 2 minutes.
Oh, wow. Acting. Wow, you really nailed that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I pretty much feel the same way about that. It's definitely, I always feel like there's a certain like bell curve to a painting where there's a part where it kind of dips into being kind of shitty and trying to dig your way out of it. Yeah, that probably happens to like 75% of the paintings that I do, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of the times a shitty painting is either when like I'm trying something new out to begin with. Like I'm trying something and I'm like, I don't know if this is going to work.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't. And I'm like, fuck. But I don't know. A big part of being an artist is problem solving anyway. So sometimes you got to like adapt and go like, all right, I can still save this if I do this or that. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
And if those are important skills to build in general as an artist is how do I fix this? How, like problem solving. How do I, you know, change this to make it better?
Yeah, totally.
That's almost, I would say that's like 80% of being an artist is just problem solving.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Not all.
Yeah,
what you're doing is
probably I'd say probably almost all of it.
Yeah, and so if your painting's going bad, it's time to fucking work out those problem solving muscles, which I believe are located right between the ball sack and the butthole. Or for you females, you know, not the ball sack, but the other thing. Yeah. Vagina is what your kid with the cool middle name will call it.
Yeah, exactly. Vagina.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Yeah, the problem solving part of it. I wonder if that's sometimes why, like my thoughts on a painting, like especially doing like a show, people ask like, oh, what's your favorite painting that you did from the show? It's usually like the one where I feel like I accomplished something rather than the one that I don't know, it's like objectively like the best painting. It's so hard for me to judge that.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Or commercially, like you, the most like, I mean, I feel like you can easily, as an artist, you can like, everyone's going to like that one.
Yeah.
This one's my favorite.
Right. Exactly.
A lot of times it's either like I nailed it, like I nailed all the things that need to be nailed, or like that one has the least amount of mistakes I can see.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it is the goal of the artist to have the least amount of mistakes.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, when we were talking about earlier, how like you can geek out about how people, like the decisions they made. I think it's that. It's like, oh, you can see how they solved that problem. And even though it's different than what I do, or maybe similar, I still can, that ends up being what style is. Is how you solve problems.
Right.
Like,
yeah. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah. And so that person solves everyone solves problems differently, but it's cool to see like, oh, I really like how they did that. So yeah. I don't know. What do we got? Anything else?
Let's see. Plague of Crows asks, Shia LeBouf fans, yes or no, and why?
I fuck with Shia LeBouf. Fuck yeah.
Why?
Oh, why? Because he's a goddamn beast. I mean,
like acting wise?
Acting wise,
okay.
I think he's very talented.
Yeah.
I think he's probably one of the best actors alive today, actually.
Huh.
Surprisingly. Shout out to Even Stevens. Holy fuck, pulled it out. But yeah, I think it's because he's probably a slight bit crazy. But
I see. Yeah, that's true.
But every great, Joaquin Phoenix, fucking what's the other dude's name? The one that's like Bane. What's the fucking name?
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. All those motherfuckers, they're a bit crazy. They're a bit nutty. Allows them to go into weird spaces.
That's true.
But yeah, I think Shia LaBeouf's a beast. He's also an odd character that makes me watch him. Like when I watch what he does, like if he does an interview, he kind of pulls me in through his weirdness, which I think is authentic. At least it has to be by now, because maybe it wasn't, but I think he's gotten at least crazy enough to where he drank his own Kool-Aid.
Right.
It's like Kanye, like
yeah,
he's crazy, and sometimes I'm like, it's marketing, but it's like, but also, I think he's just crazy. I think he believes everything.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, especially Kanye.
Yeah. Shout out to Lord Kanye.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you think?
I like his acting. I think his art is terrible.
What art? He makes art?
He's like a conceptual artist that basically rips off everybody else's conceptual art.
I know no part of that.
Oh, okay.
I'm not in that. I know the one thing where people can go and talk to him or something.
Right.
I knew that one. Oh yeah, that was that one lady.
Yeah.
Did that before.
Right.
Yeah. He said he got raped.
Yeah.
It's like, just stop them. I don't know. Both of those fucking, I don't know. I don't like the person he ripped off in that one. I don't know. I'm not that into her stuff either.
Right.
But.
Yeah. Yeah, from what I don't know that genre of art at all, really. I just know that, like, he's basically just
he's also like
stolen shit from all sorts of other artists.
Yeah, he's also like plagiarized something as well.
Yeah, he got caught ripping something off, and then he plagiarized his apology for it.
Oh, really?
Which is actually like, now, like, stepping back from it, I actually kind of like that. The whole
I wonder
idea.
if he did that on purpose.
It had to have been.
It had to be, right?
Yeah.
Fuck. That's cool.
Which I actually kind of respect that.
Yeah.
Which kind of contradicts my own point about it. But still, like, I don't know.
He's just an interesting human being.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have to agree with him on shit. I don't have to fucking like everything he does, but sometimes I watch something he does and I'm like, wow, he's fucking good at his craft. I don't know his art shit because that's not his craft.
Right.
And I don't, it's like, but as far as acting is concerned, I don't know. I think he's a beast. He was on that movie Fury. I don't know if you ever watched that.
Oh, is it the one with like tanks or whatever with Brad Pitt? No, I never saw it, but I know which one you're talking about.
It's a good movie, at least from
I heard
what
it's
I can
good,
remember. Yeah. And he outacted the fucking cast of Beast, and I was like, God damn. real actors in there, and that guy just outshined them all.
Yeah.
Which always will stick out to me. It's like, when you get a bunch of great actors in one fucking thing and someone stands out.
For sure. Yeah.
It really puts a pin in it.
Yeah. Probably will always be underrated for his acting ability.
I don't know. He seems to be taking big steps this year.
Really? What's he been in?
He directed, I think, 2 movies.
Oh, did he? Oh, okay. I didn't know he was directing it.
One is like, I haven't seen either of them, but one is like him playing his dad.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then, so it's like his dad raising him.
Oh, really?
It's weird.
Huh. I heard his dad is pretty nuts, too.
Yeah. I think his dad was part of the Hells Angels or clicked up with them somehow. And he's like he's like a crazy person. Like they grew up gypsies or some shit like
Something like that.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I've been on like YouTube recently watching like I don't know if you've ever seen him, but like there's this guy who he'd like Hitchcock on his like talk show and like Orson Welles, and they would just talk about shit. It kind of reminds me of a podcast.
Yeah.
The guy's not the greatest interview. He was like, it's like podcast in that it doesn't seem like he's got pre-written questions.
I see.
You can see him trying to figure out what to say next. So you're like, it seems sloppy because it's TV, but in a weird way, it's pretty cool because they're just having a conversation.
That's cool.
Yeah, I forget what it's called, but he's got like he had like Martin Scorsese, like young Martin, like probably like right after Taxi,
Oh, wow.
Taxi Driver or whatever. Yeah. But he has like these directors, and I've been watching him, and fucking hell, like Orson Welles is such an interesting character. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's these weird things where you're like, God, that man, like he like went to dinner once where Hitler was there, but he didn't realize Hitler was there before Hitler was Hitler.
Okay.
Things like that, and he was he was friends with Churchill. And it's like this weird thing of like this person whose artwork and his life were both interesting, and in their own separate ways. And they both got a lot of depth to it. And not only that, but Orson Welles, he's a person who's like, can tell a good story where it's like, it's well told. Like on the show, he like tells it well, and he'll like add a joke in here, like a really quick one that
Oh, really?
It's like all these like things where you're like, I want to be that fucking guy's friend.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Hell of a drinker toward the end, though.
Yeah. Well, at the end, I hope I'm the same way.
Yeah. Doing crazy ass wine commercials.
I definitely want to dip my toes in the hair on before I go, but right at the end.
Right at the end, yeah. About Shia LeBouf, if anybody hasn't heard that Radio Lab where they talk about how he got trolled by 4chan super hard.
I've never heard it, but I want to so bad because it's like, do you have the file or something?
I might, but actually, you know where you could hear it? The end of the podcast that Ari Shafir interviewed Milo Yiannopoulos at the last 20 minutes, he just tacked on that Radio Lab episode.
The whole episode?
Well, like that section of the episode.
Oh, I never heard that.
Yeah. So if you just go to like the last like 20 minutes of that, you can hear that.
That's good to know. I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah.
I'm sure I could find it. I've always heard about it, but it's always like when I'm at work and I'm like, I got to go look for that when I get home.
Yeah.
Oh.
But that's worth hearing.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah. I got to check that out.
Just the amount, like the ingenuity that they.
Oh, yeah. Because he set up that camera, right?
Right.
Yeah. Was that his artwork too? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Like anyone could say anything, and then he would like run up and yell at people.
Well, what it was,
or he was
leading a chant. Yeah. He was kind of leading a chant.
Yeah. Like, you will not
divide us. Yeah.
Divide us.
Yeah. You will not divide us.
That's right.
And then, everybody just trolled him.
Yeah.
Super hard.
He kept like yelling at people, like pushing them.
Yeah.
I remember when it was happening.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing something about like I know Joe Rogan's talked about how they like would calculate the sun and shit like that. Yeah.
They talk all about how they figure that out.
There's some weird Did you ever hear about that like K-pop star who like, I don't know if she got murdered or something, but it was like someone calculated the sun based off the reflection of the sun in her eye. And he found her apartment or some shit and then went to and like murdered and raped her.
Holy shit.
It's like,
no.
Who the fuck is doing all this shit? I don't know. It's weird. It's like, I don't know. People got too much goddamn time on their hands. I mean, it's kind of funny when it's like Shia LeBouf and you're like, they're calculating it to like troll them. But in a weird way, it's like, God damn, can't you guys do something? I don't know. It's like, it's like funny, but then the more I think about it, the more I'm like, how much effort went into this thing that it's only funny based off of the effort?
Right.
It's not like funny itself. It's just the effort is funny.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
I mean, I kind of get that. I remember being a young, I don't know, late teenager, just like finding like putting way too much effort into
yeah, that's true,
into doing shit like that.
Yeah. I could understand that, but I don't know. It's just one of those things, you know. I mean, it's I still can laugh at it,
yeah,
but then if I put any effort into thinking about it, I'm always like, why aren't you guys doing something else? Like, why aren't you doing something that's like worth doing something? But then they could justify that by being like, well, we did. It was worth it.
Yeah,
you know?
That's true.
Because the response, I don't know.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it too.
But yeah, I don't know. The more I think about trolls, the less I think it's that funny. The more I'm just like, like there's some trolling, like the Ken M. You ever seen that guy where he's just like lightheartedly trolling shit? Where he's like,
maybe I have seen it.
Where he'll go like he'll just say something outlandish to someone on like Yahoo News. He'll comment like, "Oh, this isn't true because blah," or he like hit up like a Bagel Bites or some shit like that, and he was like, he was like, I went to Costco. Or no, it was breakfast out. She's like, I went to Costco and they were handing out samples and everyone kept taking 2. And when I got there, they were all out. So I didn't get it. And then they're like, oh, so sorry to hear that. Please send me your info. And he's like, my info is, and he's just like typing it on like the thing, like on the, like, so everyone can read it.
Yeah.
Like on their Twitter or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, sir, please don't send it this way. And he's like, my social security number is. But it's just like he's just being like silly. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I don't mind that because the joke is actually funny.
Right. Yeah. The older I get, the more I like really subtle trolling like that.
Yeah. But it's also the same thing of like political comedy on either side. Like I just don't think it's that funny.
I see.
It's like, you know, it's like one of those things where I'm like, I don't know. Is the joke actually funny or is it like, is it like the you're on my side kind of funny, you know, because you get it from both sides where they're like, look at this. I'm like, that's not that funny to me.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
exactly. Yeah.
Whatever.
On the same sort of subject, I was actually talking about this with my girlfriend once where I used to love like prank shows and stuff. And nowadays I cannot watch them without like cringing. Like I don't have a tolerance for it anymore.
Yeah. They're pretty bad. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. That's it. I mean, I could see like pranking being funny if it's like lighthearted or something like that. You know, it's like Ari Shaffir said. He's like, sometimes I'll just like slap the milkshake out of my friend's hand because it's funny.
Yeah,
it only cost him $2.
Right.
And I'm like, I can get behind that. I can't get behind like, I don't know, but I don't know. For a show though, it's also that thing like the show puts so much effort into that.
Right.
It's not that, I don't know. And it's not even that funny. And it's literally the same joke redone over and over. It's the joke of we do something ridiculous to someone who has no idea that it's ridiculous. And that's what, and their reaction is what makes it funny. I don't know. It just isn't that. There's a bit of comedy that's based around the element of surprise,
Mm-hmm.
You don't know how it's going to end. Like most jokes, they take you down one way and then they fucking take a M. Night Shyamalan twist at the end and you're like,
Right.
oh, that's fucking hilarious.
Right.
Prank shows, you know exactly how it's going to end every fucking time.
Mm.
It's going to end with either someone mad
Yeah.
or something like that, and then them going, it's a prank, and then everyone laughing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the 80s Jean-Claude Van Damme. It's going to end with a jump in the sky.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. It's not my, but whatever. I mean, I'm just hating.
But no, I was just thinking that because I don't know if you ever watched that show Impractical Jokers, because like the prank is on the actual people in the show doing it, and
Right.
but like even that, it's still like it's so uncomfortable for me to watch them in those situations that I just can't do it. Like I understand like the humor in what they're doing, but I don't know. I just maybe just because like I get so uncomfortable in those situations, I would just get it's too hard for me to watch.
Yeah. Plus, it's kind of dated, anyways. The show in general, like prank shows in general, feel like maybe
That's
it's
true.
also a thing with like YouTube being like a big prank culture,
That's true too. Yeah.
where they might have just literally, bruv, lost,
Literally.
killed the fucking genre.
They killed it in it.
Literally, bruv, kill
They killed it.
it. But yeah, I think that whole like that whole like YouTube prank thing really makes pranks look like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get what you're saying. Do you have any more questions?
Let's see. We got
How the
one
fuck
more.
did we get on that anyways?
Oh, because of Shia LeBouf.
Oh,
Pranking him.
yeah.
Feodome asks, any chance you guys could do a body swap episode? Josh acts like Sergio and vice versa. Well, guess what? Joke's on you.
Body swap.
I've been Joshua Lawyer the whole time.
That's right, guys. And I'm Sergio. Landscapes.
My wife is dumb.
I want to respond, but I'm too nervous to.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. We're close to 2 hours.
Hell yeah, we did it. But yeah. Holidays. Thanksgiving's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, MJ. We didn't talk shit about you this episode.
I didn't see her face from what I could judge. She probably didn't.
She gave me a smirk and a look.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's actually the best. But
Yeah.
she listens to this podcast, so it's not like I've said this to her face.
All right.
It just, yeah. But yeah. Are we good? Are we done? Do we have anything coming up?
Do I have anything coming up? I have right now coasters in the Nucleus Portland show.
Hell yeah. Get that shit.
I got, I just sent a couple paintings out. One down to the Context Art Fair in Miami via Spoke Art. So that's cool. And then I just delivered a painting to Modern Eden to take it to the Beyond Eden Art Fair in LA.
Beyond Eden.
So Anaheim to be exact. So if you guys if any listeners are in that area, you could see my original art out there.
Hell yeah. And I don't know, I have a piece in a bed showing right now for their small piece. I don't know what it's called. It's like an 8x10 show or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, their small work shows, their annual small work show. Yeah.
And I'm working on my website right now.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
How's that coming along?
It's going. I'm slowly chugging away. I'm not spending work hours working on it.
Yeah.
I'm not even spending any hours at work working on it. Say that much.
Yeah.
But yeah, Yeah, so hopefully that'll be up soon. I'll promote the shit out of that. Hopefully I'll have some available prints on that website. I feel like people always are talking about the prints.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah.
Sell them off here.
Yeah, and I'm going to start doing a blog off of that where I'll like focus on one topic. I've already written my first one, but I haven't published the website, so you can't see it yet. But it's kind of been a cool little thing I've enjoyed doing, actually. Cause,
oh, really?
I know putting like ideas, like typing out ideas is really kind of like helps you work them out in a weird way, or like really help your brain kind of either develop the idea or just kind of solidify how you think about it. Because sometimes they're just kind of like ideas that are all wishy-washy in your brain, and you think about it every once in a while or whatever, but you don't really pinpoint how you think about it. So I'll probably use it as that.
I see. That's interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, my first topic is Style Takes Miles.
Are you writing them out as freestyle, as key styles?
Spaghetti.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. Well, that's all I got.
All right.
If we don't see you before Thanksgiving, if we don't put one out before Thanksgiving, everyone, happy Thanksgiving. Eat that turkey.
Yeah. Have that pumpkin pie.
Fuck yeah. This has been Waiting to Dry. If you are still listening, fuck off.
Watch your profanity.
I almost didn't say it.
I wasn't sure if you're going to or not.